Welcome to our webinar on PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud. Before we get started, just a few administrative footnotes. We request everyone to be on mute. If you wish to contact the moderator or in case of any questions, please use the chat window on top, which is the second icon you see on top. The webinar today is hosted by Astute Business Solutions, and our presenter for the day is Arvind Rajan. He is our Chief Architect at Astute. Arvind?
Thank you, Tanvi. Welcome, everybody. And this is a follow-up to a presentation that I made earlier this year in May of 2016, where I introduced some concepts of PeopleSoft on Cloud, gave everybody some information on what cloud architecture means for PeopleSoft, what are some of the common terminologies used, and how the business can view PeopleSoft on cloud architecture, whether it's Oracle Cloud or Amazon or Microsoft or any other cloud provider that you may want to consider. So this is a follow-on to that, and I thought today I'd take a slightly more tactical approach by showing you how you can do things that you do on a regular basis with your PeopleSoft applications using Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So before I do that, I wanted to just take a quick minute to introduce Astute Business Solutions. For many of you who are on the call today, I see some familiar faces here. You are not new to Astute. You've met us, you've spoken to us. But for those of you who are joining us for the first time, Astute Business Solutions is an Oracle partner focused on PeopleSoft applications, on Oracle Cloud, and test automation. Now, within PeopleSoft applications, we do all of the services that systems integrators would offer, but we go far deeper and wider into PeopleSoft because PeopleSoft is our primary competency. We have done several 9.2 implementations and upgrades, and we continue to push the boundaries with mobility, with Fluid UI, because there's been a lot of talk about that and a lot of our customers are using it. In fact, one of our customers is presenting on their Fluid UI roadmap, a large global nonprofit organization, on Monday at Open World in a panel discussion with Mark Weintraub of Oracle. So Fluid is really hot. There's catching on. There's a lot of features that customers want to take advantage of, and we are leading the way by both helping customers implement that and also train them and their internal teams on how they can take advantage of that. Lifting and shifting your PeopleSoft applications to the cloud, you'll hear more about that today in the presentation and while I do the demo. But any other questions that you may have about Astute Business Solutions and what we do for PeopleSoft specifically, you can always visit our website, which is www.beastute.com. Test automation, that's going to be a recurring theme across all PeopleSoft needs, whether you are implementing, whether you're upgrading, whether you are creating new instances for development, integrating new applications. We work with customers often when there are mergers and acquisitions or they are divesting a business unit or a part of their organization. All of that requires a lot of testing. So our testing solution, FastTest, which leverages PeopleSoft Test Framework, has been successfully implemented by healthcare customers, financial services customers, public sector customers like government, nonprofit organizations, and a long list of other customers. And we would strongly recommend that you take a look at this, especially if you're on 9.2 and you want to keep up with all of the PUM images that Oracle is delivering. Roughly every 8 weeks or so, there's a new PUM image. ETF and FastTest are going to be essential to the testing process and the lifecycle process. On today's presentation, I'm going to talk about cloud, and we'll talk about what your options are for deploying PeopleSoft on cloud. We also have strategic services, so helping customers define their cloud roadmap depending on where they are today and where they would like to go, whether they do it all in one big bang approach or whether they adopt a hybrid model first, move only some of their applications to the cloud, and then over a period of time, move all of the others. So we can help you build that roadmap, and we've done that successfully for several customers. We also offer what we call a health check service. So if you're planning to upgrade and you haven't yet analyzed your PeopleSoft applications and determined how to structure your upgrade, whether it's a functional upgrade, technical upgrade, whether you want to incorporate new features, de-customize, how you should approach all of it, and how you should estimate that. That's what our health check service for upgrade gets you. And then finally, I wanted to touch upon selective adoption strategy. Every customer is going to have their own unique interpretation of this, and some of you may need some guidance and assistance in setting that up and understanding the ramifications of selective adoption and how you should prepare for it. So we have some consulting services for that also. Specifically about today's webinar, PeopleSoft on Cloud, we can help you deploy PeopleSoft instances on the cloud, integrate that back to your other in-house applications or your external third-party vendor applications. You can do that for dev test. You can do that for production. We can help you upgrade your PeopleSoft applications using Oracle Cloud Infrastructure as the platform. So instead of you having to provision additional servers and manage them for the upgrade, Astute can help you do all of that on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. It can scale up and down to support your upgrade needs, and it can still fully integrate back to your other applications in a secure and compliant manner. If you just want to kick around the tires, so to speak, on a new version of PeopleSoft, let's say PUM 20, which was released less than 2 weeks ago, is out and you don't have the bandwidth to put up an instance so that your business can check out those new features, we can provision that for you on Oracle Public Cloud. So those are some of the things that we're going to talk about a little more in detail, but at a high level, these are our offerings. Before we go too much into the demo and other things like that, I wanted everybody to have a good understanding of what Oracle Cloud offers today. And depending on whom you talk to and what you read at on Oracle's website, and there are several YouTube videos to support all of their content, you may get confused because there is a very large offering that Oracle has on cloud today. But the primary distinction that you want to make when you look at this is there are on-demand software as a service applications that you just can subscribe and consume, and then there are infrastructure services. And within that cloud infrastructure, you have two main sections. You have platform as a service, and then you have pure infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service, as the name implies, is you can get infrastructure, network, storage, server, all of that on Oracle Cloud without having to physically buy and maintain these in your data center. And there are many varieties of that. You can get Oracle Linux, you can get Windows, and you can also bring in some other custom applications that you want to run on those and run it on those. Platform as a service takes that underlying infrastructure and it gives you additional software and hardware depending on what you need so that you don't have to take the trouble of installing and maintaining those. So for example, Database Cloud Service is a platform as a service. So what that means is in addition to getting the infrastructure, you also get Oracle Database on it, whatever version you're looking for, and it comes with a managed service, which means backups are included. You just have to tell the system when and how you want to do it. And everything is automated behind the scenes for you. So less headaches, less management, just monitoring, and you pay for the services that you use. Similarly, there are platform as a service services or options available for integration, for business process management, for security, for monitoring tools, Oracle Cloud monitoring tools, and many other things that you can use. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see there are a whole host of tools available to maintain and manage all of these cloud solutions that Oracle has. And there's more information about this on Oracle's website. As you can see from the diagram, this is not something that I built. This, looking at the colors, you can easily tell this is an Oracle graphic, and the source of this is also oracle.com. Another thing that I just wanted to point out quickly from oracle.com is that there are two things that you would hear often in the discussion when cloud comes into the picture. One is a public cloud, and the other one is a private cloud. Now, by definition, the public cloud, what it means is it is cloud that is accessible over the public internet. It does not mean that just because it's public, it's open to the whole world in addition to your organization, and everybody can see what you have, and it's not secure. So those are two different things. The reason why they call it public cloud is because it's accessible over the public internet. You don't need a private internet or private network to access that if you have to do that. A private cloud, on the other hand, is something that is specifically built for you or your organization, and a private cloud does not have to be necessarily on a provider's platform like Oracle or Amazon or Microsoft, your organization and your data center can create its own private cloud. So, however, you have the option to have Oracle or any other cloud provider build private cloud solutions for you as well. In today's presentation, I'm going to focus on what I've circled here in red, platform as a service and infrastructure as a service, specifically for PeopleSoft applications. That's the audience we have here today. And more specifically, or more importantly, I'm going to show you what your options are to move things from your on-prem infrastructure that you have today to the public cloud infrastructure using Oracle Cloud. Now, what you have today on your on-prem systems may not be technically cloud, or it may not be referred to as cloud, but whether you know it or not, some of it is already on the cloud. Most customers that we speak to have some footprint on the cloud, whether it's infrastructure or applications. You have an expense management solution, or you have a task management solution, or you're using Office 365, guess what? You're on the cloud if you're using Office 365, and that's very prevalent. So most customers are doing something or the other with the cloud. It may be a new concept when it comes to taking your PeopleSoft infrastructure and putting that on the cloud. But for those of you who have gone through an Oracle Lab upgrade, for example, in recent years, guess what? That was an example of you using, quote-unquote, Oracle Cloud infrastructure to take your database, ship it to them. They would perform the upgrade on that infrastructure and hand you back an upgraded copy. So that was a way of using cloud in the good old days. Anyway, so this is what we're going to focus on the left-hand side, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and then we'll talk specifically about what you can do to use cloud, how you can use it, and how you can consider migrating your PeopleSoft infrastructure into the cloud. Now, while we do that, I think it's important to understand how cloud will work for you, specifically for PeopleSoft. We get a lot of questions from customers, especially when they fill up our registration forms. We ask them, what are your concerns? Are you worried about security? Are you worried about integration, about uptime, about how you can access it, how you can customize it? So I think it's important to understand a few basic concepts on how PeopleSoft will work on cloud before we go into a demo. So let's start with that. Your cloud stack is nothing but a set of hardware and software engineered to work together, except that instead of running in your physical data center in your office building or in a building that may be next to you or in another city that you own and operate or lease, now that infrastructure runs on Oracle's data center. And Oracle will virtualize that and give you access to that over the internet so that you don't have to worry about maintaining and managing that. So that's your cloud stack. And using that, you can access your PeopleSoft applications, your browser-based applications through the internet using secure browser-based access. All the standard security protocols that you implement for PeopleSoft will still be available for you on the cloud infrastructure. You can have people tools access. This is very important for PeopleSoft customers, right? You want to be able to access your application designer tools, PeopleSoft Test Framework, which runs on a Windows client utility, Data Mover, all of these things for development, for conversion, for enhancement, to integrate, and you can still do all of that without any issues because that is available to you through Windows terminal servers. You can run other sorts of remote access. You can connect to your PeopleSoft servers directly from your desktop. If you're doing this today where instead of logging into a remote terminal or a virtual terminal, you are able to connect to a 2-tier connection or a 3-tier connection directly from your laptop or desktop because you have PeopleTools installed. You can still do that with Oracle Cloud infrastructure. There are no restrictions. And you can do that in a secure way, and I'll talk more about that when we get into demo. You can have services delivered on this. So just because your infrastructure is not in your data center anymore does not mean you cannot give access to your partners or service providers to maintain and manage this. Many of you may have vendors coming in to do upgrade projects, to come in and do integration. Some of them provide production support services. They can do all of that and access the cloud infrastructure the same way as you would and continue to support and maintain those systems. Service level agreements. If there are standard service level agreements with Oracle Cloud, you can go for enhanced services if you would like and service level agreements. and you can do that using Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and partners like Astute will work with you to set up your service level agreements and maintain your systems according to those service level agreements. Infrastructure and platform, it is really very seamless and invisible to you. You buy a block of storage, you buy some compute power, and you just start using it. You don't have to worry about how the systems are managed and maintained behind the scenes, whether there's a storage administrator, whether it's virtualized or not. All of that is behind the scenes. You are primarily responsible for using the application and building and tearing down environments as your needs arise. So in summary, no different than your on-premise PeopleSoft stack, except that now you can't walk into your data center and point to a machine, not that you do that very often, and say, hey, that's my PeopleSoft development server. You don't need to know where that is because the majority of developers are never going to step into a data center. They probably won't be given access to step into it in the first place. So for them, it should not matter where the server is, and so is the case for your end users. They just need to know that their applications are available, features are available, and it performs to their expectations. So let's look a little more into this and see how does PeopleSoft behave in some key areas. Integration. So you want to integrate your PeopleSoft applications to other applications, and that's a very basic need for any PeopleSoft customer today, whether you're integrating in-house to other applications that you have on-premise or custom applications or homegrown applications, or whether it's third-party integration through web services, flat file, FTP, all of the stuff that you may want to think of. All of that works in the Oracle Cloud. You can do that through secure network connectivity, through public internet services using web services, REST-based protocols, all of that stuff. Or you can use an Oracle Cloud service like Integration Cloud, which is built basically on Fusion middleware and SOA Cloud services. And it allows you to orchestrate or define what the endpoints are for those two integrations. It's much easier to manage, it's standardized, and it makes future upgrades and implementations that much more efficient and effective. So something to think about. But integration is covered. Security. So you want to make sure that your PeopleSoft application security works. It will work because all of that is part of your PeopleSoft database and your metadata. Any physical security related to infrastructure, Oracle has you covered on that. Database security, server level security, folder level security on file servers, all of that can be enforced and maintained based on your need. And you can have as much control over that as you would like to have. If your systems administrators say, no, I need to make sure that we are the ones who enforce that policy, guess what? They can do whatever they want. There is no hard and fast rule that you have to stick with delivered security and only work within certain restrictions that Oracle would provide. No, that's not the case. You can buy infrastructure and you can tailor it or customize it with your security requirements as specific as you want to be. Customization, no change here. As I said in the previous slide, you have full access to your PeopleSoft environments. So you can modify and enhance and update the PeopleSoft applications just like you do on-prem, no problem. Everything works the way it works today. Upgrade, what do you do when you upgrade? The first thing you do is you decide which version you want to go to. If you're on 9.2, you decide which PUM you want to apply and which tools update you want to apply, and then you create pull down the latest PUM image from Oracle, apply a change package to your dev or test, and move it forward. So all of that works exactly the same in the cloud with some advantages. And I have a link to a article that I posted on LinkedIn earlier this week on how there are some advantages for update, upgrade, refresh, restore, and monitoring on the cloud versus doing it on-prem. I'll show you a snippet of that as we go along. And then support. I spoke about how your managed partners, managed services partners or in-house support teams can access these environments. They are fully capable of supporting this regardless of whether your infrastructure is on the cloud or on-prem, so no changes there. Let's talk quickly about benefits. And one, it's automated. A lot of the stuff that you would do on cloud is automated. You can further automate what's on cloud by writing your own scripts and bringing your own tools. You can do a number of things, but just out of the box, what you get, there's a lot of automation built in for you, from the way you deploy an instance to the way you create snapshots to the way you secure your instance. A lot of these things can be automated. So that makes it a very strong value proposition. It's responsive. What does that mean? If I could count the number of times that we've spoken to customers and asked them why it takes them long, and depending on the customer, long may mean a week, it may mean a month to deploy an instance, we get all kinds of answers. Bandwidth issues, skill issues, hardware availability issues, all of these things that slow you down or that pull you back when you want to do something new and cool. You can do that now with Oracle Cloud. You want a new instance? Click, click, click. That's it. You have the instance available in a couple of hours. You want to clone something? Again, a few clicks, you can clone it. You want to back something up? You're already doing that, assuming you have a backup cloud service, but if you want to do point-in-time backups or some ad hoc backups, very easy to do. So very responsive. You submit a request. Now your systems administration teams, your IT support teams, your PS admins, your DBAs can be that much more responsive because now they can just work with all of this new infrastructure and tools to respond to your needs and make things go faster. So cloud is multi-use. You don't have to do an all-or-nothing type engagement with Oracle Cloud. You just want it to be a sandbox environment for upgrade or for new PUM images, just to prototype a few transactions, and you don't want to worry about maintaining that, downloading all of that, and keeping track of that. You can easily do that on cloud. You want to do all of your dev tests in cloud, but keep production on-prem, you can still do that. And so there's many ways you can work with cloud. You can put your PeopleSoft applications on the cloud and your other applications can be on-prem. That could be a potential hybrid model. And these things can evolve depending on your strategy and overall roadmap for cloud. It's efficient because now you are taking advantage of the latest engineered systems that Oracle has, and all of this is running on that. So you don't have to worry about performance as much. You're just consuming, and somebody behind the scenes is taking care of updating the systems, making sure everything's running properly, utilization levels are maintained, etc. So overall, you're going to get a lot of advantages. If you'd like some managed services by putting your infrastructure on the cloud and not having to worry about sysadmin, database, network, storage, PeopleSoft administration services, and Astute's managed cloud services on Oracle Cloud for PeopleSoft are a very good way to go. Fixed fee, monthly, annual support services, SLA based, and tailored to what your needs are. Some metrics that we've seen from deploying our own instances on cloud and helping some customers run instances on the cloud, and you'll find some more details about this on our website. So this next section is going to talk about things that I described in my LinkedIn article earlier this week on 5 things that you can do better on Oracle Cloud for PeopleSoft compared to the way you would do that on your on-premise data center. And I just picked the 5 most common things that every customer would have to do. Obviously, there are more things that you would do or more variations or nuances of this depending on your environment. Some of you may be running 5 to 7 instances. I've heard of customers who have 40 instances of PeopleSoft. Don't know why, but they do. So depending on your needs, there could be many variations. But to put it simply, every PeopleSoft customer does these basic things for PeopleSoft Lifecycle Management. You have to deploy instances, you have to monitor them, you have to back them up, maybe you have to restore them from backup once in a while. You have to do refreshes, so from production on down or copy dev to test or however test to dev. And then every once in a while you may do an upgrade. If you're already on 9.2, you're not going to do a major release upgrade, but then you're going to apply PUM images every so often, so you want to know how to do that. And then you're going to have infrastructure needs, performance needs, open enrollment time. You want to scale up your environment. You want to give it some more capacity. So these are things that every customer does at different stages, at different times, depending on your application footprint and your need. But what does it take to do this today in your environment? It takes network resources. Somebody has to provision. If it's new servers, new locations, new network security rules and protocols, firewalls, all of those things, somebody has to maintain, manage, and set that up. You need system administrators. You need guys who can provision from the OS level on up to database on all of the monitoring agents and tools that go on the servers, making sure it is hardened, quote unquote, which means you apply the latest and greatest patches and security fixes to make sure that the server cannot be hacked into. All of that requires time and effort. Then you have storage. So a lot of large companies have storage that they buy from HP, from EMC, and everybody else, and that requires a specialized skill set to maintain and manage. It's not something that a regular system administrator or network administrator would do. So that requires a specialized skill set. And then on top of all of these three layers, you may have virtualization technologies, VMware, Microsoft Hyper-V, and all of those things, or open source tools for virtualization. So somebody's maintaining and managing all of that. Then comes your DBA, your Oracle shop, your SQL Server shop, or whatever else you're running. For PeopleSoft, there's a group usually that is enterprise-wide, usually a shared services team, that manages and maintains all of your database environments. Somebody's provisioning databases and maintaining and managing that. That's different from your PeopleSoft administration layer, because your PeopleSoft administration teams focus more on just provisioning PeopleSoft infrastructure, app, web, scheduler, and all of those kinds of things, and the PeopleSoft database components. But that's separate usually from a DBA. In smaller organizations, these may be combined, but it's still the effort is the same. Then you have your technical and functional leads who can check things once they're provisioned, or go in and tweak things once a refresh is done, or help you move projects as part of your update cycles. All of this requires work. Testing applies across the board to all of these things, whether you're provisioning network or servers or storage or database or provisioning a new PeopleSoft instance. All of these require testing across the board. And then there's the concept of hardening, or making sure your systems are patched up to the minimum level that is dictated by your organization's needs. All of this happens behind the scenes, whether you know it or not. And if you're an end user, this is all hidden from you. But for a company, these are all the tasks that go in, some percentage of everything, into your PeopleSoft application maintenance. Now let's look at how you would do all of these things using Oracle Cloud. By the way, that's the text box that just popped up on the top part of the screen on that slide. That's the LinkedIn article. You can go to my profile on LinkedIn. You can find it from there. But if you want to make a note of it, that's where you'll find a full write-up on how each of these can be done on Oracle Cloud and how it can be better on Oracle Cloud. So now let's take a look at the same set of lifecycle management activities and how you can do that. So when you're deploying, you don't have to install everything from scratch. You can use images, you can use marketplace images, or you can create your own, or you can take a snapshot of an entire instance. Again, it's a few buttons that you click on the cloud portal, and I'll show you an example of that. And you can create new instances using that. Monitoring is simple. Many customers have enterprise monitoring tools, many don't. So if you want to monitor your PeopleSoft applications, it's just another cloud service that you plug into your PeopleSoft instances, and it will monitor it and report it for you, and it will give you an online dashboard with alerts and things like that, and notify you when you want to be notified. Backup, you can just get database cloud backup service from Oracle, and that takes care of backing up your instance, storing it, maintaining it offsite. You don't have to worry about putting things on disk and then archiving it to tape and shipping tapes off to an offsite location. All of that goes away because now the service provider, Oracle Cloud Service Provider, will take care of all of that for you. You want to do a refresh, again, take an instance snapshot, use that to clone it or create a new instance, run a few scripts using DPK and People Tools to change nodes, to change server names and things like that. And a lot of that can be automated. Back in the day when we used to do refreshes, I used to be a PeopleSoft administrator and also a DBA. We would have this lengthy checklist of things that you would do before and after you took a backup and use that to restore it or refresh it down to a dev or test instance. And you'd bring the instance up, you would go in and change your app web server configurations, your process scheduler configurations, reporting nodes, gateways, and a whole bunch of other things. Reload security in that environment, reload any projects that were not in production because you had in-flight development projects. There's a whole laundry list of things that you had to do. A lot of that, if you're on 855 tools, A lot of that can be automated now using DPK and People Tools. And trust me, this actually will surprise you if you haven't seen this or you haven't used it, but it will automate a lot of these tasks. If you're not on 855, you can still use a lot of tools in PeopleSoft to automate it, and I won't be able to demo those aspects in today's presentation because we're not specifically talking about DPK. But if you have a question or if you'd like to see some more information on that, feel free to contact me or anybody at Astute, and we'll be happy to show you that. Upgrade, you want new instances? Hey, can you spin up 3 more instances for my upgrade? Guess what? Somebody goes online to the Oracle Cloud Portal and they press a few buttons and immediately you have instances available. So it's a matter of hours, not days or weeks to do that. And then you have the ability to scale up or scale down depending on your performance needs. So you can add more CPU, more disk space, more memory, and instantly the server can scale up to whatever your needs are. So that's the difference. You can do a lot of it using these tools that are available that are built for the cloud as opposed to building these internally and maintaining these. And the big advantage of using pre-built tools is these tools will get updated and enhanced with every release. And you being a customer in Oracle Cloud, you're going to get access to the best of that, and you don't have to worry about maintaining those. So let's go into a demo, and let me show you a few things here. Let me get out of presentation mode here and open up my browser. And so this is Oracle Public Cloud, and I have a trial instance for today's demo that I'm going to show you. And this is the dashboard. So when you first log in, it's going to take you to what is called the dashboard. And the dashboard is going to look like this. I'm going to hide my bookmarks tab so that I can make some more room on the screen to show you everything. And this is showing you a few things on the dashboard because this is what I have in this particular trial. I have compute, which means I can get servers and instances, which roughly translates to CPU, memory, network, RAM, all of that is part of compute. I specifically can order or get storage. I can get block storage, which means I can buy some capacity up front, a terabyte or 2, and then I can do incremental storage after that. I have database backup as a service available here, and I can configure the database cloud service to back up as many databases as I want. And depending on what my needs are, everything is configurable online. I can use some MySQL. Let's say I will have some custom applications, and they are running on MySQL. I could do that. And I want to do some Java development, so I have that available. So you can access any one of these. And from the left-hand navigation menu, if I were to expand that, you would see I can get to database, compute, Java, SOA Suite, all of this I can do. And then I have the ability to set up users who can access the cloud portal or the My Cloud account, and I can set up specific privileges for them. I can set up FTP access, secure FTP access that is, and do a lot more. So let me just go into the compute cloud and show you some of the instances that I have running, and I'll also show you examples of how these instances were built and how you can build more for yourselves. So you can see I have a number of instances running here. On the top it's telling me there are 7 instances. I'm using 8 OCPUs, and if I can pull up my highlighter here. So you see there, 7 instances, 8 OCPUs. I'm using 112 gigabytes of memory and so much in storage right now. Okay, so you can do all of this, and it just gives you a quick snapshot. Anytime you come in, you know you have these many instances running. Now, let's say I want to pick a particular instance. So let's say I want to look at my FSCM 9.2 instance, and I want to look at the details of that. That's how I would do it. And it shows me a few things. It shows me what my IP address is, and it has 2. Every instance will have 2. It'll have a public IP address. It'll have a private IP address. And there are different needs for that. I can go into specifics. Somebody has a question on why you need both. This is not just because it's on cloud, by the way. This is the same thing that you do with your infrastructure, even on on-prem. You always have a private IP and a public IP for your servers. But the public IP is what you would use to access that server over the public internet, whether you're going to remote into it if it was a Windows server, or whether you're going to access that instance through the internet. And there's a DNS name for it here. So you can see that you can put this in as part of your URL and access your PeopleSoft instance that way, or you can use it using IP. And as you scroll down, it's showing you that it's got one storage volume assigned for 165 gig because this was demo. I didn't feel the need to add more. Security lists, very important to understand how these things work, and I'll show you what these mean. But these define the access rules so that you can control who accesses your application through what protocol, what network protocol, and from what specific IP addresses or range of IP addresses. And you can assign these. You can do this by server. You can do this by group of servers. You can do that. And everything is securely accessed through a public-private key mechanism. So using standard RSA encryption technology, you can create one or more keys or key pairs. One will be a private key, one will be a public key, and use that when you create the instance so that you can securely access these instances using those key pairs. So that's that. And then if you look at what is called orchestrations here, you will see that for each of those compute instances, there will be 3 orchestrations that are created. One is called a master, and another one, that's this one. This is called a master. Let me see if I can highlight that for you here. So in this case, for my ELM instance, that's my master orchestration, and I'll get a little bit more into detail. And then you have 2 others. So typically on the Oracle Cloud, there'll be 3 such orchestrations. That the orchestrations are nothing but the underlying mechanisms that are used to start up your instance when you say you want to launch an instance, and this is what runs behind the scenes in terms of servers and components that make your systems available to you. And you can look at each of these if you want. The orchestration is driven by something very standard. So let's look at this here. I want to view what this orchestration looks like, and it is using JSON. So JSON, for those of you who don't know what it is, JavaScript object notation, gives you a way to define your instance, the parameters of the instance, name, location, IP address, DNS name, storage, network, security list, all of that in a file that's easily readable so that you can run the instance based on that parameter or those sets of parameters. And you can also use this sort of a definition to automatically create new instances using your own standard format for instances. So most customers that we work with have standards in place for IP. When they want to launch a new server, if it's a development server for this type of application, they have a standard footprint for that. All of that can now be defined in JSON. Then you have images. And what images are images are, as the word implies, an image of an existing server or a server that you can use to create another instance for your own use. So you can have an image for Microsoft Windows Server. I have one in my trial instance to show you. And a Microsoft Windows Server is what you would use to configure people tools and all of your app designer access and things like that. And then I have various PeopleSoft images. So I have a Campus Solutions demo, I have a ELM demo, I have a financials demo, multiple financials demos, one at PUM 19, one at PUM 20, and an HCM demo. I can use any of these to create a new server very quickly. Now, let's look at what it takes to create a new server, because there's going to be a lot of interest on how quick deployment is. So I come back to instances in my compute dashboard, and I say create instance, and it'll ask me whether I want to use a Oracle image or what is called a private image, and I'll show you the difference between the two. So Oracle image, depending on your cloud, OPC, Oracle Public Cloud infrastructure footprint, you will have access to these or more. So if I want a Linux server, I can select that. If I wanted a Java server, I can select that. If I wanted a gateway, I can select that. But let's say I want to look at something specific to PeopleSoft. So I have an image of PeopleSoft Financials Demo 20, which is PUM image 20 on Tools 855. I select that, and I go to the next step. here at the top, you can see it's giving you a very simple and easy way to understand what the process is. It's very simple. It goes from image to shape to instance to storage and review. Now, in Oracle Cloud terms, a shape is nothing but your definition for how much CPU and memory you want to allocate for that. So let's just say I'm going to go with general purpose and 1 CPU and about 8 gig of memory. And then it allows me to define the instance. I can change the instance name here based on whatever my instance configuration is. So fsdev92855 PI20. Let's say this is my naming convention, and I can do that. I can put that in. I can describe that. I can put some tags in, OPC demo, and maybe I can search by tag later on. I can put a DNX prefix. So maybe this is what I want as a prefix for my DNS also. So I can always say DNS hostname prefix dot domain name and port number and PeopleSoft sign-on.html, and it will give me that. I want to auto-generate a public IP address. I always have to secure my instance. So I have some pre-built security lists that I've created. I'm going to select one of these, but if I wanted to create a new one, I would come here, give it a name. I would define my inbound and outbound policy, and then I would go from there. But I'll come back to that in a bit. Secure access through key pairs using RSA. I've created a key pair, and it's very easy to use. For those of you who are infrastructure people, just go and download PuttyGen, free tool available on the internet, most standard tool, and say generate a key pair. It will generate an RSA key pair for you, and you upload it to your Oracle Cloud, and you're ready to go. Very simple. Takes less than a minute to do that, by the way. Storage. So I have some block storage, and this image by default requires 165 gig. This is an image that I pulled down from Oracle Cloud Marketplace, and it is using this much storage. I can always add a new volume to it. Let's say I want to say my company name and FSCM92 and volume 2, and I want to give it another 500 gigabytes here for some reason. Or maybe I want to do it less or more, doesn't matter, and I want to attach that as this too. I click on add, it just added that. As simple as that. I don't have to go to a storage administrator and say, hey, do you have storage? Can I fill out this form? Can you guys do this for me? No, you just come in and select something here. Last stage, it gives you the ability to review all of your information once, and you click on create. And as you can see here, it says creating orchestration, if you can follow the screen here. And that's it. It's building that server for you behind the scenes. It will take a few minutes for everything to come together, but creating a server is as simple as that. Now, let's say I don't want to maintain demo instances, and instead I want to go to the Oracle Cloud Marketplace. Let me just open up cloud.oracle.com. This is the Oracle Cloud Marketplace. For those of you who have not seen this, you don't need an OPC license to do this. This is a public site. And what I wanted to show you was that Oracle provides images for PeopleSoft demo in the Cloud Marketplace. So let's say PUM20. When PUM20 came out 2 weeks ago, rather than building our own image on our own server or laptop, what we did was we just went into FSCM92 PUM20, and it defines what's there in that image. It's using 85507, image 20. It's a demo, and this is what I want. So I say get the application, and it asks me to follow and accept some terms and conditions, which I'll do, and click on next. And that's pretty much it. It says select an account that I want to use. I select an account, and it installs that into your account. What it means is it's pulling down that pre-built PeopleSoft FSCM92 PUM20 image from the Oracle Cloud Marketplace into your own Oracle Cloud infrastructure. And it's going to say, now this image is available for you. Let's launch a new instance. So you are not think of how you would do this otherwise. If you wanted to do this in-house, you would ask your PS admin or systems administrator to do this. They would go in to log into Oracle Cloud or Oracle support, and they would create a ticket, or they would go look for the latest image. They would download a whole bunch of software, gigabits worth of zip file, that unzip it, follow all the installation instructions. It is complicated and it's time consuming. You don't need to do all of that if you're an OPC. So while that's downloading, let me show you what that looks like. So when I wanted to create that instance, it actually used an image that was one of these images that I pulled down from the Oracle Cloud Marketplace, and it stored that as a private image. So it stored that as a private image so that whenever I want to create a new instance, I can take any of these images and follow the same steps that I followed to create a new instance. So that's what it's doing, and it takes a few minutes to do that the first time you pull down an image from the Cloud Marketplace. Now, similarly, from the Cloud Marketplace, you can pull down images for ELM, Campus Solutions, HCM, all of the PeopleSoft applications, CRM, everything is available for you, and you can do that. Now, coming back to the Cloud Marketplace here, the Cloud Portal here, and I want to go back to my dashboard. I wanted to show you how you could take an instance. So any instance that you have running, you have the ability to take a copy of that instance. So here it's also giving me the option to reboot because I've given my ID all the privileges, so I can reboot an instance from here if I have to. But let's say I want to view my ELM instance, and for some reason I want to take a backup of this immediately and store that as a snapshot. This is where I would come. I would come to Instance Snapshots, and I would, let me turn on my highlighter here for a second to show you. So this section that you're seeing here, that's where you would come in, and you would click on this button at the bottom to create an instance and instance snapshot, and you would be able to do that. So right now this button is grayed out because I don't have an instance available that has a non-bootable disk attached to it, but otherwise this would be an option available. When you click on that, it creates a snapshot for you. The point I'm trying to make is creating an instance, managing an instance, adding users to that instance, etc., is very simple. Now, the list of instances that I have, I also have a couple of Windows instances, so you will see that. That's still pulling down that image. But I have a Windows instance here, and I've named it ABS Win RDP1. And this is something that I can use to connect to and set up my PeopleSoft file server, my PS Home on Windows, my Windows process scheduler, my app designer access, and I have a remote Windows desktop that I've connected to. So if I install People Tools on it and I put a desktop shortcut, that's what it would look like. So I have access, just like I can remote into any infrastructure today on Windows, you can do the exact same thing with Oracle Cloud, and you can secure it with whatever security you want to apply to it. So that's how you would access People Tools. Network is network, not very complicated here. You have the ability to create security applications, lists, and rules. So let me just walk you through this very quickly, and then we'll spend the last few minutes on Q&A. I see there's some questions already there in the chat window. So a security application is what you would define to allow access into your system. So for example, I created this one specifically to allow remote access over the public internet to my Windows remote desktop terminal. And it just so happens 3389 is a TCP port that you need to turn on or allow access to so that you can get to a remote Windows terminal. And this is the same thing that your systems administrators are doing, except that all of this is behind the scenes, and they're taking care of that. So you create that, and you can do that. But if you want to create a new security application, here's what you do. You give it a name. So you either allow or deny is what you would want to do. That's how you define your rules. And you specify this port number, and let's say I want to do something like 3390, for example, and you specify the port number, and you can do that. And there are different types of port numbers. This is something that your system administrators would typically work with. You don't have to worry about this if you're an application user. And you would say, I'm specifically doing this for one port, so the range is that, and I create it. Once you create that application, you would come in and define a list and a rule and associate that with that application. So a rule is nothing but further definition of what sort of network security you want to apply. So OPC demo rule, I'm enabling this rule, and I'm going to tie this to a security application that I just created. So we called it Open3390, and the source is default, and the destination, let's say, so I want this to be accessible over the public internet. I can also say I want it to be accessible from a particular site or instance only. And then what is the target list? So I want to apply this to my Windows security list that I created. I can put a description on it and I can create. Once you create the security rules for your network, you apply that to the instance that you just created or when you're creating the instance. And that's it, you're off to the races. So in the interest of time, I'm going to pause my demo here. There are a few other things I could show you. Let me just quickly go over to the monitoring tab here and show you what that looks like. This is just out-of-the-box stuff. None of the custom Oracle Cloud monitoring tools like OEM, Oracle Enterprise Manager in the cloud, I have not pulled those in, but you can see you can add or remove instances to your monitoring, and here it's monitoring memory usage, and I have all of these instances. I can remove this from the graph, and it'll just automatically remove it, or I can add. I can scale the graph to say, show this to me by date, or show this to me by day. It'll give you all of those details. Same thing for memory, for I/O usage. All of these are pre-built, and you get this as a standard part of your monitoring. So that's that on the demo part, and I have about 5 or 7 minutes left. Happy to extend it beyond that, but for those of you who have questions, please post that to the online chat on Join Me. Address it to me, Arvind Rajan, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Provisioning, while I'm waiting for questions, a couple of other things that I wanted to show you. So whether you want to provision a demo instance or a dev instance, if you want to upload your entire database from your current on-premise server to the Oracle Cloud, all of that is easily done through this dashboard. You don't have to go outside and build custom tools or anything like that. Everything can be done right from here. So very easy to use. We've done migrations from on-prem to cloud already for several customers, and we've built sandbox environments, dev test environments. We've built integrations back to on-premise instances. So there's a lot of things that you can do with cloud today, and you don't really have to wait for any new technology to come up. All of the technology is already there. Okay, I will give the audience a few more minutes for Q&A if you have any questions specifically about the content that you saw today or how you could benefit from it. In the meantime, let me see if I had anything else to show you on cloud. So here's an example slide of how you could deploy PeopleSoft on cloud. So you could think of PeopleSoft on cloud in 4 different ways. You can use public cloud infrastructure, which is everything that I've demonstrated today is Oracle Public Cloud or Oracle Cloud, as it's called. And you can also look at options if you want to for Amazon EC2 or Microsoft Azure, and you can just get infrastructure. Now, you can also do private cloud, so you don't have to use public cloud infrastructure. You can work with the cloud provider to get your own private cloud, which means dedicated servers, dedicated instances, all managed and accessible only by you through a private network, not through the public internet. You can do a hybrid version. You can do a hybrid that includes PeopleSoft on cloud, on Oracle Public Cloud, and rest of the applications on-prem until they are ready to move to cloud. Just so that I clarify and everybody's clear on this, while I'm talking again and again about PeopleSoft on Oracle Cloud, it's important to know that Oracle Cloud will allow you to run any application that you have today in your data center on the Oracle Cloud. It does not have to be PeopleSoft or other Oracle applications. You can also run non-Oracle applications on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So important point to note. And then you can use cloud for upgrade. So let's say you're not ready to move everything to the cloud yet, but just for the upgrade, instead of buying new hardware and provisioning all of that, you just want to run all of your upgrade instances on the cloud. You can certainly do that as an initial model and consider that. And some additional use cases, so let's say you want to run test development or pre-production workloads and see how you need to scale up or scale down your instances. You can use cloud for that. You want to just ramp up capacity for your self-service applications, for example, around things like open enrollment. Then you can, instead of buying and storing and maintaining that hardware, you can just ramp up using cloud, and you can ramp down when that need goes away. You can use cloud for backup, disaster recovery. So Oracle Database Cloud Service can back up your Oracle databases even when they're on-prem. What it'll do is the cloud service will connect to your on-prem Oracle databases that you have today, and it will back it up and store the backups on cloud. So it will still be a good option for you to consider if, in case you want to avoid maintaining large amounts of disk for storage and creating tapes and offsite storage locations. You can do all of that just with Oracle Database Cloud. Some common concerns around integration. Really, these are concerns for the most part because customers have not yet looked into all of the capabilities of cloud. All of these are standard. You can integrate back and forth from cloud to any application just like you would do on-prem. You can do it securely. You can do it by doing custom integration like the way you may have today, or you can do standardized integration using web services. And you can always do a hybrid model. You don't want everything to be on web services or SOA. Obviously, many customers and many PeopleSoft features have needs today that require you to send a file to a partner, like a bank file, for example. And we understand that, but you can still do all of that securely when your infrastructure is on the cloud. And security, you can look at what security compliances are already available for your cloud infrastructure, whether you're interested in PCI, HIPAA, or other data privacy requirements depending on your region, whether it's UK, EU, US, Canada, Australia. All of them have different requirements. And then your physical requirements are already met because you have best-in-class security features of your physical hardware. You have redundant power and disaster recovery most often built into the cloud infrastructure services. So next steps on how you could deploy PeopleSoft on cloud. Use ready-made images that are available. If you're doing it in Oracle Cloud, then Oracle Cloud Marketplace has that. Astute is also provisioning some images for customers so that they can build that, accelerate their build using those images. You can build custom images, or we can build custom images for you based on your instances and create snapshots and maintain that. You can use integration as a service in the cloud. You can use other platform services like Database Backup Cloud, for example. And that's pretty much it. So thank you all for attending. If you have any questions, well, I have a few questions here in the chat window now. And let me see. How do you handle customization in cloud, and does it work seamlessly? Yeah, so customization is no different when you're working in the cloud as compared to working with an on-premise PeopleSoft instance. So you can still completely access everything that you access today for PeopleSoft, Application Designer, Data Mover, SQL Access, all of those tools that you would need. And you can work easily with that to modify your PeopleSoft applications, build customizations, build bolt-ons, and things like that. Another question, would you be able to use PeopleSoft Update Manager on the Oracle Cloud? Yes, definitely. So Update Manager, you would just download and install that on the Windows server and configure those tools and put your PUM instance on there, and from there create change packages and migrate to your target instance, whether it's your dev instance or test instance. Some of our customers are even considering using cloud just to maintain and manage all of the new PUM images, and from there create change packages and send them to their on-prem servers. So you can still do that. That way, at least you're not taking on the overheads of maintaining all of these different PUM images. Those can be running in the cloud for a very low cost because those are not going to be heavy transaction type environments. You're not going to have a lot of users log into it, just primarily your administrators and some of your functional users who want to check out new features. So you can run those easily on the cloud and still package your PUM changes from there and send the change package to your on-prem dev or test instance. So there's many ways you could do this. That'll be a hybrid model that I just described. We'll be posting a Q&A and adding to the Q&A that we had from our previous cloud webinar. So please feel free to check that out. You'll get an email with a link to that FAQ as well early next week. And I'll make sure a recording of today's webinar is posted online on our website and our YouTube for you to replay or share with others in your organization who may have missed today's presentation. We're running out of time. Thank you so much for attending and appreciate your participation and your questions. For more information, please go to www.beastute.com. Feel free to fill out a contact form. If you're at Open World next week, I'll be participating in a panel discussion with Jeff Robbins from Oracle and some other partners to talk about PeopleSoft on Cloud implementation strategies. That's on Thursday, September 22nd at Open World, so feel free to check that out. Information about that is both on Oracle's website, Open World website, and also on Astute's website. You can get to that from our homepage anytime. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.